Yo guys, what's up? Corey Sandman Sandhagen here. Welcome to the channel where we do all the breakdowns of all the previous UFC fights, okay? Today we're going to talk about Yair versus Ortega, an absolute banger of a fight in my opinion. Let's talk about some of the noteworthy technical, like movie type things that happened in this fight. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Sponsored by Strandlife. Let's get into the breakdown. Cool, so guys, there was only really a couple things that were super noteworthy in the fight, being that, you know, round one, Ortega really got his ass whooped. Round two, Yair really got his ass whooped. And then there was the round three, of course. Whenever you're like looking at fights like this, or at least when I'm watching fights like this, and they're just hunting each other down, exchanging, hunting each other down, exchanging, it's like kind of hard to like really break that stuff down because they're just making fighting, okay? But the couple like noteworthy techniques for those of you that really want to get into the learning piece of this, whether you're a fighter or a hobbyist or whatever it is, the learning pieces to this that we can kind of take from this fight. When Ortega was getting underhooks, okay, and hiking this high, instead of re-engaging like this with someone that wants to, you know, connect to you and stay close to you, I keep getting their names mixed up. Yair kept this overhook, okay? And instead of, you know, exchanging in like some type of wrestly ties back, he's making a post with his forehead and staying heavy on the underhook, okay? This makes it so that I have a block in between us so that the wrestler or the guy that wants to grapple with me doesn't get to connect to me really easy. If I don't use my head, obviously he could hike this up, he gets head position or whatever, but really what that is he's just getting around my block of what I want to have in between us or my frame. When I'm like this, he does not get to connect to me very easily, okay? He has to get around, just like how he would have to get around, like if I framed him like this, or if I framed him like this. In order for him to get close to me, obviously he needs to get by this thing. When I have an overhook and head position, damn, your pits are so sweaty right now. When I have this frame in front of Elias and an overhook, it's obviously very difficult for Elias to get in. He has to hike this, re-get his head position so that I can't establish a frame in between him in any way, and then he can start to work, which is what Ortega started to do, okay? The second noteworthy thing that we should go over, do not go for guillotines against the cage in the first couple of rounds, and I have a very strong opinion about that, okay? Most of the time, if you're fighting anyone that's good, it's typically a bad idea. Unless like you really cinch that sucker in, get it, and then jump guard, okay. But if you have like a half guillotine against a cage, and then you jump for a guillotine to try to get a finish, typically I've seen that work out less often than it works out, okay? So don't do that. The last thing we're going to cut into is the grappling portion, and obviously, of course, the finish that Ortega was able to finish Yair with. Okay, so let's get into the finish. So Ortega mounts Yair. And also, just to make a note, Ortega's ground and pound was like phenomenal. Okay, you can tell he spends a lot of time doing it, but he goes to throw an elbow, and Yair's arm comes across even just like a tiny bit, okay? He gets this in, Yair keeps turning, okay, and that gives me this kind of lock, opposed to if you're more flat. If they are more flat here, I get off to the side, I either just like collect their shoulder or I lock both my arms and finish like this. If they turn, sometimes this type of grip, I can't get enough like squeeze in the correct direction that I need to get it. Like obviously I need to squeeze towards me, not like into his shoulder, which is kind of a really hard thing to describe on video. But if someone turns, this can be like a really tough type of finish here, unless I switch my grip to something that makes a smaller hole. Like this, I can make almost no hole happen with my arms. This, there's always going to be some type of space here. I can literally close it by doing this. When I get this, he squeezes here. He could have just finished here, but the way that Yair was kept turning this way, right there's good. Yair keeps turning, he hops off to his side and stays really heavy in this direction, okay? The reason is because if Yair keeps turning and turning and turning, I start to go, and he can start to make space if he can make himself strong here. If he goes back. If I put all of my weight back into my hips while I have a really connected grip, boom, as he goes to turn, like, that's not gonna happen. I keep squeezing and he's gonna tap, okay? So pretty simple, that fight. Like round 1 and round 2 were just ass whoopings happening in both directions. A lot of just like actual fighting. Still technical stuff, of course, but it was a lot of like, hey, let me try to get this guy out of here. And that was the fight, of course, with the finish at the end. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Comment below of what you guys think I could do a little bit better, because still a little bit new at this. So let me know. Peace. Love you. Bye.